Sit with me for a moment. Let us breathe together, slowly, gently, without urgency, because the lesson I will share with you today is not one that rushes. It is a lesson that reveals itself only to those who choose to be still.
I once believed that strength was measured by how quickly a man responded when provoked, how sharply he defended himself, how loudly he could speak, how visibly he could stand his ground. But years of silence, meditation, and life's quiet teachings have shown me something entirely different. Your greatest power often lies in the moments where you choose not to react. You see, when I first came to the monastery, I had a fiery temper. A novice monk once spilled hot tea on my robe. Without thinking, I snapped at him. But my teacher, an elder monk whose eyes always held calm oceans, said to me after the incident, "If your peace can be stolen by a moment, then it was never peace, it was only comfort."
I carried those words like a stone in my heart for weeks, and eventually, I understood. Non-reaction is not weakness. It is mastery. It is the ability to remain in control of your inner world, even when the outer world tries to shake it. Let me share a story. There was a villager who visited the monastery often. He carried frustration like a shadow. One day he confronted me, angry about something I had said during a teaching. His voice rose, his fists tightened. The other monks watched in fear that a fight would break out. But I stayed silent, breathing slowly. When he realized he could not pull me into his storm, he stopped. His shoulders lowered, his anger dissolved, because it had nowhere else to go.
Moments later, he whispered, "How did you stay so calm?" I told him the truth. When someone tries to hand you fire, you do not have to hold it. Reacting quickly often means acting from ego, fear, insecurity, or pride. But choosing not to react, choosing silence, choosing presence, means letting your wisdom speak louder than your emotions. Here is what I want you to remember. Your reaction is someone else's control. Your non-reaction is your control. Think about your daily life. Someone insults you. Someone doubts you. Someone provokes you. Someone tries to pull you into their chaos. And immediately you feel that spark inside, that urge to defend, to argue, to prove something. But ask yourself, prove what? And to whom? When you do not react, you reclaim your time, your mental clarity, your emotional balance. You conserve energy for things that truly matter. There is another teaching I learned from the elder monk. One morning, he drew a circle in the sand and said, "This is your mind." Then he threw small stones into the circle. He said, "These are people's opinions, insults, and expectations." The circle became disturbed, messy, uneven. Then he smoothed the sand and drew the circle again. This time, when he threw the stones, they bounced off the boundary and fell away. He looked at me and said, "When your mind has boundaries, nothing can disturb your center." Non-reaction is that boundary. It is the space between what happens and what you choose to feel. It is the wisdom to pause before you speak, to breathe before you respond, to reflect before you act. Every moment you do not react, you grow. You become stronger, clearer, calmer. Because here is the secret. Not reacting does not mean you are ignoring the world. It means you refuse to let the world dictate your peace. So, my friend, the next time someone tries to provoke you, the next time a situation feels overwhelming, the next time your emotions begin to rise like a storm, pause. Breathe. Return to yourself. Remember that true power is quiet. True strength is calm.
True mastery is choosing your response instead of surrendering to impulse.
Let people talk. Let them misunderstand you. Let them project their own storms. You do not have to join them. Your peace is your sanctuary. Protect it with silence, with stillness, with non-reaction. And as you walk away from the storms of others, you will find that life becomes clearer, decisions become wiser, and your inner world, once chaotic, becomes a place of deep, unshakable peace. This is the power behind your non-reaction, and once you embrace it, you will never see conflict, pressure, or negativity the same way again.
Sit with this truth. Let it settle in your heart.
You are strongest when you choose not to react.